In November of 2025, my wife and I, along with our good friends Bill and Sherry, took a 2-week trip to Ecuador and Peru. The first part was a land excursion that included Cusco and Machu Picchu. The second part was an expedition cruise of the Galapagos Islands. Our trip began with 2 flights, arriving in Lima, where we stayed a couple of nights at the Belmont Miraflores Park Hotel. While we were there, my friend Bill and I were treated to a pisco sour class. What we expected to be a quick preview of this iconic Peruvian beverage turned into several hours with Andre, a fantastic bartender, and the hotel bar all to ourselves, during which we learned about various versions of pisco sours, as well as several other adult beverages. It also included copious samples of everything that was discussed. By the end of the class, and copious sample consumption, I was given a certificate of accomplishment. I don't remember it all that well, and I was told that this is one of the drinks I made. The next morning, we flew to Cusco and checked into the Palacio del Inca Hotel. That's when we met Gordon, Linda, and their daughters Rachel and Michelle, a lovely family from Toronto, and our guide Miguel, who also accompanied us during the rest of our stay in Peru. During our day in Cusco, we visited a llama, alpaca, and viacuna farm. We got a chance to see the animals up close, feed them, and in one unfortunate case, be bitten. We also visited the Basilica Cathedral, known for its localized take on the iconic Last Supper painting. Nothing else noteworthy happened during our stay in Cusco, and I would just like to say that hanging out at 11,000 feet above sea level can be a bitch. The next morning, we boarded the Hiram Bingham train to Machu Picchu. Hiram was an explorer who, thanks to his educational background and wardrobe choices, is considered to be a major inspiration for Indiana Jones. He's also credited with rediscovering Machu Picchu, which came as a big surprise to the people who were living there at the time. Regardless, he played a significant role in establishing what remains a rudimentary tourist infrastructure to access this remote area. This train, which bears his name, is modeled after the Orient Express and is one of the less rudimentary aspects of that infrastructure. Before boarding the train, we participated in a solemn ceremony that included tossing 3 coca leaves into a fire, listening to local music, and accompanying some of the local dancers. It was finally time to board the train, and during the 3-hour ride, we were treated to more of that haunting Andean music. We spent a couple of nights in the Sanctuary Lodge, located at the entrance to Machu Picchu, and from there took some hikes into the ancient Inca city. It was fascinating to see what the Incas accomplished with their bare hands and stones taken from quarries located miles away. It was also an opportunity to see their local groundskeeping staff firsthand. On our way back from Machu Picchu, we stopped at Ollantaytambo, the last Inca stronghold before the Spanish and the neighboring tribes conquered them. For all their construction skills, the Incas weren't terribly popular with their neighbors. The next morning, we flew from Cusco to Lima, and then to Quito, where we spent a rainy afternoon walking through the very European-looking center of town. That included the panoramic central square and the breathtaking Church of the Society of Jesus. The next morning, we flew to San Cristobal, one of the largest towns in Galapagos. After a short wait, we were taken to the pier for a zodiac ride to our ship, the Silver Origin. Turns out, the ship never docks, and the only way on or off is by a smaller boat. By the end of the week-long cruise, we got pretty good at our zodiac riding skills. Anyway, after a short ride, we boarded the ship and tended to the first order of business, resting. The first stop was circling Kicker Rock. The reason became clear when one of the carefully timed circlings coincided with sundown. What followed were several days of hikes with panoramic vistas, snorkeling in somewhat cold and choppy water with not great visibility, and encounters with local wildlife. One of the hikes was on Fernandina Island, a deserted island and the westernmost point of Galapagos. While the island didn't have any people, there were iguanas galore. Some fun iguana facts. Males turn colors during mating season, and we learned that a group of them is called a mess. Trust me, when you see and smell a bunch of them up close, you understand why. There were also plenty of sea lions. They were everywhere we looked. Heck, we couldn't even get a simple picture of us without one of them jumping in front of the camera. Other critters in the Galapagos include these colorful Sally crabs. While I understand they don't make good eating, they do make great pictures. There are also penguins, smaller than their Arctic cousins, but penguins nonetheless. This is a fever of stingrays. That's what they're called. I managed to get this picture by sticking my waterproof camera into the water as they were passing underneath our Zodiac. Finally, no trip to Galapagos is complete without encountering the blue-footed boobies. Let's take a few moments to enjoy them. After a full day of excursioning, it's back to the boat for the evening educational yet entertaining lecture, followed by a relaxing dinner. Here we are on the north side of Florina Island, the location for Eden, an interesting if slow-moving movie released a few months ago. We were lucky enough to be there when we could watch sea turtles cavorting in the surf. Later in the year, with the cavorting completed, the females will make their way onto the beach to bury their eggs. Another stop on Florina Island was the post office barrel. That has been in place for hundreds of years and provides an informal mechanism for sailors and expedition cruise passengers to leave mail that someone else will hopefully deliver and pay it forward by picking up and delivering mail addressed to someone near our homes. There's even a fictional yet fascinating story that during the War of 1812, members of the U.S. Navy would periodically read the contents of the barrel as a way of gathering intelligence for use against the British Navy. Our final day was spent on Santa Cruz Island. In the morning, we went to Rancho El Mananillo, a privately owned tortoise preserve. After trading our shoes in for knee-high rubber boots, our guide took us through the preserve where we could get up close and personal with these magnificent lumbering beasts. You need to be careful, though, because while you're staring at one of them, a bunch of them may sneak up behind you. The weeping angels from Doctor Who came to mind. One of them even tried to chase me down, and I narrowly escaped with only minutes to spare. As a final image for potential aficionados, here is this picture of tortoise coitus. In the afternoon, we visited Puerto Arroyo, the largest town in Galapagos. We spent some time at a rooftop bar, enjoying the view and not enjoying one of their local beers. What we did find hilarious was how the sea lions take over the town during high tide. They were everywhere, on the pier, sidewalks, benches, planters, and playground equipment. During our final dinner aboard ship that evening, the crew was kind enough to acknowledge our recent anniversary with this lovely cake. The next morning, we left the ship, and a mere day and a half and 3 flights later, we were greeted at the airport by our car service driver and home a short while later.